everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, March 29th, 2020. I don't know about you, but I find it precious, absolutely precious, that all Victor Newman had to do was reach over slightly to his left, and he was able to pull out a 25-year-old scrapbook titled "That Time I Killed AJ Because AJ Killed Cliff and I Wanted to Protect Hope." The only thing that scrapbook was missing was some dried flowers, maybe a butterfly sticker or two. Where is the Genoa City craft store? Is it closed for business right now? Because Victor needs more embellishments. Oh, Victor. He had carefully cut out newspaper articles about Cliff's death, about AJ's death. Apparently, AJ was also the local feed store owner or something. So he had both news articles carefully clipped out. Looked like there was also some kind of loan document there, obscured in the background. You know I screen capped that and then zoomed in on it like I'm Sherlock Holmes trying to solve the mystery. Who needs Alyssa? You got me. Adam's got a working theory about what happened. He's made some incredible leaps of logic, though, so I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't some other twist coming down the pike from Victor's perspective, especially considering that Victor has now, as of Friday, fueled up the private jet and he's headed back to Kansas. The assumption is that he's going there to cover his tracks, but he could also be going there to try to protect Adam from something or someone, who knows. Adam is speculating that Cliff owed Alyssa's dad, AJ, some money that he couldn't pay back. And so AJ sent what we thought was, previously a drunk driver, was actually one of AJ's goons sent to teach Cliff a lesson. Cliff and the other guy died in this car accident, which is now believed to have been no accident. And that left Hope, I guess, on the hook for this loan that Cliff had taken out to save the farm. And when Victor found out about all of this, Adam thinks that Victor just straight up killed AJ. Just killed him, made him fall off the barn. If that's what happened, then good. I'm glad AJ's dead. I'm glad Victor killed him. I hope Victor killed AJ. If this man was messing around and harassing a blind, widowed woman with a small child to get a couple of measly nickels out of her. What surprises me is that if this assumption is true, and if Adam does realize that Victor would have committed this murder to protect him and his mother, then why does Adam feel obligated to use this information against Victor anyway? That's where the story starts to feel a little loose for me. Let's put aside the past for just a minute. The only current beef between Adam and Victor is the fact that Victor didn't give Adam a temporary job? Adam is so offended that Victor didn't give him a job? Is that really enough reason to go to war? Adam seems to be torn right at the onset of all of this. On the one hand, he feels oddly obligated to start a war with Victor right now, whether he even wants to or not. It's like, as the son of Victor Newman, Adam feels that he must ultimately be the one to bring down Victor Newman. But on the other hand, Adam does realize that this could be the final war. This could be the war to end all wars. There is no turning back. Adam seems to have a consciousness that one of them will not even come out of this alive. So I think that if I were Adam, I would just let this one go. No? It doesn't seem big enough. Or Adam doesn't almost seem like he needs to feel righteous enough to start this war. But I don't know. I'm not Adam. I'm a Y&R fan, so I guess I can't complain about the drama. I guess I can be convinced to watch this war go down, no matter how loose I think it is. But what about you? Are you up for this? Or are you up for the Newman war to end all wars? That's our poll question for the week at yrchat.com. Do you want to see a war between Adam and Victor right now? I know that eventually I can warm up to the idea of this, even if it does require a little bit of a logic and an emotional leap. Maybe it's because I feel like this murder mystery should be tailor-made for me. It's rooted in Kansas, and Hope's Farm is like the holy grail of Y&R for me. I guess I just wish that Y&R were playing up Adam's feelings, that Cliff was the only real father that he had. And maybe the reason Adam is choosing to potentially die on this hill, as he put it, is because he wants to know the truth about what happened to the man who always was to him the father that Victor Newman never was. I think that might help me get more emotionally engaged from Adam's perspective, might help me understand why he's choosing this. Because Cliff was never a really big deal on screen. He always represented the safe choice for Hope. Cliff was the good man who loved her long before Victor ever came along. Cliff was the man who raised Adam as his own after Victor screwed Hope over, told her to have an abortion when it was revealed that Adam might have been born blind. So I feel like there's some play that Y&R could be doing there. Cliff picked up all of the broken pieces of the Victor, Hope, marriage and child situation, and then Cliff just kind of died in an off-screen car accident, which also was not that big of a deal at the time. Cliff's death was really just a tool so that Y&R could bring Hope back to Genoa City years after she had already had Adam, years after she had already divorced Victor, years after she had already left the show the first time. Maybe that's what's bothering me. Maybe it's just that Adam's sorrow is missing. Adam's motivation is missing. Adam just sees all of this as a means to get revenge on Victor, and it doesn't really even matter to Adam that Victor may have killed a man to avenge Cliff and Hope. I don't know. What I do love about this story, though, is Alyssa. Alyssa is providing me with the emotional element that I'm looking for. And I think that is going to draw me into the story in the days and weeks to come. I feel sorry for Alyssa. Adam and Chelsea are kind of jerks. Adam and Chelsea baited Alyssa to get her to investigate this whole murder mystery, since the crux of it is that maybe, according to this theory, Alyssa's father was also murdered by Victor. So Alyssa's father killed Cliff, and then Victor killed Alyssa's father, AJ. But, it all seems really kind of cruel and calculated by Adam and Chelsea toward Alyssa. Like, Adam and Chelsea are perfectly happy playing up on Alyssa's emotions while feigning this whole, oh, sorry about your dad attitude. It's kind of horrible if you think about it. Alyssa's the real victim here, if you think about it. After Adam feeds Alyssa all of this speculative info, by the way, he tells Alyssa that she should just go ahead and write up an article about it, an expose, and he will publish it in one of the publications that he owns. So wait a minute. Adam is dragging Alyssa into all of this just to turn around and print the information in a publication that he already owns? Does Adam not have a pen and a paper and some sticky notes of his own? Why does Adam even need Alyssa to be the one to investigate this? Couldn't Adam just investigate and expose this all on his own and just leave a friend that he supposedly cares about out of it? I think that if I were Victoria, I might fake a heart attack to avoid having to go back to work at Newman Enterprises too. I think that is a perfectly viable strategy. Oh, my heart. Collapse on the floor. Just kidding. I do feel for Victoria. Don't take that the wrong way. I mean, Victoria seems to now be having an identity crisis on top of the physical and emotional trauma that she's been through. Hey, I like seeing Victoria as the Newman Enterprises CEO, but clearly the mere idea of getting back into this fold is causing her big time anxiety, big time panic. And so, fine. I'm okay with Victoria stepping back and letting Nick do the job. Nick is doing a fine job in the CEO role. Here's a great example. This week, Nick was at Society wrapping up a business meeting with some random, non-speaking, business suit-wearing character. And just as the guy is getting up and walking away, Nick says to him, "We got a lot accomplished here today." Wow! Wow! That is some good CEOing right there, Nick. I believed him. They got a lot accomplished there today. Nick did look good, though, in that scene. Okay, and that's the story of Nick in a nutshell. That shell is hollow, but it looked good. Oh, I'm horrible. Also notable from that scene, Chelsea walks into the restaurant right after Nick's productive meeting has ended. And Chelsea's like just getting ready to do her part in the whole let's make Alyssa think that her father was murdered so she'll do all of the legwork on this investigation for us. And Chelsea and Nick had a very tense conversation. Nick issued all of the same warnings about Adam that he has a million times before, but this time Nick also commented on how she is a different person when she's around Adam. Like, Adam has been a bad influence on Chelsea. Maybe, because Chelsea was a real nice girl ever since she came back to town. She's been a little angelic do-gooder. And now here we are in this thing that Adam and Chelsea are dragging Alyssa into. I just feel bad for Alyssa. I'm watching Alyssa's heart breaking, realizing that her dad could have been both a murderer and murdered. And then I'm also on the sidelines watching Chelsea and Adam feeling real pleased with themselves about it all. Doesn't it make complete sense why Victoria is resistant to get back into this whole game? She has set herself up to where it's expected that she will pop back up and be a good little soldier for Victor. Victor and Nikki are hovering over her every single day. They were talking this week about sending her away to boarding school. I mean military school. I mean a spa. Yes, that one. A spa. Like, they're her ward. They're her wards. And they're going to send her away. I don't know. Poor Victoria. Poor thing. She is trapped. She's done it to herself, but she is trapped. At this point, I am pro spa trip. I cannot handle seeing her laying around on the couch too much longer. That is not good for her. Although that little pink fuzzy blanket she has is really cute. I'm feeling the blanket fashion. But that is only going to last me through this week. I'm kind of over it. It's just not good seeing her laying around with this malaise. The only thing that's been good for Victoria, the only thing that's made her feel a little alive, are these conversations with Sharon. There is just something about Victoria that I like better when she's talking with Sharon. And maybe it's because nobody really ever talks to Victoria in a personal way. Victoria is not warm. She's not personal. So I think that's why these conversations with Sharon are so enlightening. Like, Sharon has this soft wisdom and playfulness about her that Victoria just doesn't have. Victoria nearly gasped when Sharon dared to playfully knock over one of those pieces on Victor's chessboard and make a joke about it. It clearly made Victoria uncomfortable. That moment was so significant because Victoria knows how Victor sees everyone as just a piece on that chessboard, even if, and sometimes especially if, you're his own flesh and blood. I think that what Victoria is afraid of is going back to becoming just one of those pieces. She's been one of those pieces on the board, and look what it's gotten her. Yeah, she got the dream job that she's always wanted, but she also became the queen without having a king. She got to be the queen, but she doesn't have the king. And that's a lonely place to be. It's lonely at the top, so they say. Everyone keeps asking Victoria if things are over between her and Billy. Sharon asked her again this week, and I don't think Victoria gave an answer. I think that was left on a cliffhanger. I'll tell you right now, Nikki called Billy at the very end of Friday's show to let Billy know that Victoria had collapsed at the ranch. She's in the hospital. I'm sure she's fine. But we all know that Billy is going to run to her bedside, and I do not want this reunion. I do not want to see Victoria and Billy getting back together. I I'm still too mad at him, and I think that she should be too. She built a life and a family with him, and then he consciously, over the course of weeks and months, decided that he didn't want it anymore. He didn't throw away their relationship in one moment of bad judgment. He thought about it. He brewed on it. He stewed on it. He had internal voiceover dialogue going on about it for months. And then he chose to throw it away. Billy made his decision, and he needs to be stuck with it. And she needs to move on and start constructing some kind of fabulous new life without him in it. Oh, I get it now. Chancellor Media is the 2020 version of Restless Style, wherein Billy tries to publicly destroy Victor using that as the medium. I am hearkening back to what I think was the very first issue of Restless Style, which I believe had a very fun caricature of Victor Newman on its cover with an expose inside. Huh. How much you want to bet that Adam and Alyssa's expose article will somehow end up on Billy's desk? And, plot twist, he'll turn it down. Yes. See, first of all, Billy has got Lily there every day, keeping him in tight check. And I do love the way that she sussed out his plan to hire a very specific writer to help him in his quest to expose these people who need to be exposed. Number one at the top of the list, Victor Newman. I laughed because Billy and Lily are sitting there interviewing this guy, and Lily's going on and on about she recognizes this name. Usually she can place a writer's name. She is, in fact, a voracious reader. She called herself a voracious reader. Oh, I don't know. Something about that tickled me. And when she realized that Billy was up to something shady, she very quickly shut it all down. She reminded Billy not to cross her, and she was serious. I really, really like seeing Lily put a stern chokehold on him. I don't want no romantic vibes in that. I just want to see it. I want to see the chokehold. I want to see her yanking the leash. But I don't want any pats on the head, and I don't want any doggy treats. I just want the leash. There's plenty of people in Billy's life giving him pats and doggy treats. Somebody needs to hold that leash tight. Somebody needs to be the dog trainer. Oh. But it's not going to be all that, because Lily did also make a point of telling Billy that she is someone who believes that people can be rehabilitated. So if Billy is here at Chancellor Media trying to turn his life around, then he does have someone in Lily who believes that he can do it. That's a good thing. And that's the second reason why I think that Billy is going to have an opportunity to expose Victor, and then he's going to turn it down. Billy will have all of the means and all of the reasons. Billy has been barking back and forth with Nick all week long. More of that to come in the hospital next week, I'm sure. Nick came to the realization this week that he's Billy's new landlord at the Dark Horse old offices. Jill conveniently left out that detail when she was brokering the office space deal. It was a little bit fun because there was a really funny moment when Nick and Billy were arguing with each other. They have a million reasons to dislike each other, but the little barbs, the little immature barbs that were going back and forth between them were a little bit entertaining. And Billy said to Nick, "You're just a temp for your dad." And Nick said, yeah, well, you work for your mom. That was a really funny moment. But there was some really big truths there, too. The Newman family is worried sick about Victoria, and everyone blames Billy, including Billy. So if Billy is given the opportunity, I think that he's going to realize that he doesn't want to go after Victor right now, knowing that it would cause Victoria more pain. Billy is poised for a turnaround. I bet you that the audience is going to spend the next several days, several weeks, believing that Billy wants nothing more in this entire world than to get revenge on Victor and Nick Newman. And then right when he's going to have an opportunity to do it with Adam's expose article, he's going to pull back, and it's going to all be for the love of Victoria. I just hope she doesn't take him back. And I also hope that he does not even think about trying to hook up with Lily in the meantime, because did you see his jaw drop when Lily told Billy that yes, she is dating again? She's on the market. Oh, scary. I saw the sparkle of opportunity in his eyes, and it made me fearful. I'm not opposed to an eventual pairing of Billy and Lily. I am still rooting for Billy. I will always eventually forgive anyone. I gotta. And I eventually will be rooting for Billy to find his new mate. But first, I really need to see Billy evolve. He needs to have some personal growth here before we can even get started on his relationship growth. He can't go from loving Victoria to loving Amanda to loving Victoria again and then to loving Lily in less than a month. Watching Phylllis and Nick is my favorite part of Y&R right now. I just get this uncontrollable smirk on my face seeing the sexual tension play out between them. It's sexy, it's fun, it's crazy. Michelle Stafford is just cool. I'm surprised by how much I love her. I love her deliveries. I love the chemistry between her and Nick. I mean, Phyllис is giving me more reasons to love Nick. The funniest moment of the week, hands down, the thing I enjoyed most this week. Phyllis squeezes herself into a real tight black dress. And she puts on a little extra dab of perfume, and she slinks on over to Nick's office. She sits down on the couch in his office, and she coaxes him to come sit next to her. And she gets real cozy and real close to him, and she's giving him all the signals that he's about to get a little noontime nookie. And then she reaches down into her bag, and the bag is sitting on the floor right underneath both of their feet, and she reaches down and she gets so low that her head is right at about his crotch level. And she says to him, I have an idea that will blow your mind. And then she pulls a folder out of her bag, straightens back up, and hands him a proposal for some kind of joint deal between Newman Enterprises and the Grand Phoenix Hotel. Is that brilliant or what? This is why I love soaps. And you know I love a double entendre. This is the second time that I've seen a really, really clever double entendre lately. It's just that I think this writing team is really good at it. Remember the egg roll a couple of weeks ago? And now Phyllis is at Nick's crotch level telling him that she's gonna blow his mind. Oh, it says more about me probably than it says about anything else, but gosh, that just tickles my fancy. I like a joke that hits like a stealth missile. I mean, it's like it's almost like so obvious and so stealth at the same time. You might even not have noticed it, but to me, that was so great. That is the kind of subtle, suggestive dialogue that is justifying Y&R getting the TV 14 rating. Every time it comes up on the screen, it's TV 14 for suggestive dialogue. Well, that's why. Thank you for making use, as a matter of fact, of your TV 14 rating, Y&R, and giving me that suggestive dialogue. I honestly do appreciate moments like that even more than I appreciate the rock'em sock'em in-your-face sex scenes. Phyllis is like that friend who forces herself on you. Have you ever had one of those? Like somebody who's aggressive about hanging out. I feel like maybe Phyllis and Amanda wouldn't be as good of friends if Phyllis weren't kind of aggressive about it. Well, while Phyllis and Amanda are having their cherry martinis, oh, we had to make a big production of that cherry, didn't we, Phyllis? Phyllis insinuates to Amanda that she should start making a play for Dr. Nate, just like Phyllis is making a play for her mystery man. Why is Phyllis feeling the need to keep her fling with Nick a secret? He's not even married to Sharon this time. It's so unnecessary. They're both, they had a secret, Phyllis and Nick had a secret affair for a while that even it resulted in a pregnancy. They felt they couldn't even manage to keep that a secret, but now here both of them are perfectly single and they refuse to tell. Oh. Well, right as Amanda was actually thinking about Phyllis's suggestion to maybe go after Dr. Nate, Nate walks right through the front door looking good, too. Looking real good. I need more Nate. I'm not sure how I feel about the whole Jared thing, though. Nate is only there, not to hit on Amanda, not to have a date, just to announce that Jared has been arrested. He apparently got into a fight with the owner of his grandfather's apartment complex over the fact that Jared can no longer stay in the home. He can't afford to. Gee, I wonder if there are any billionaires in this town who have a heart of gold and happen to own some low-income housing? Man, for an 18-year-old, he seems pretty helpless. Is he really 18, or are we going to find out he's underage? Because it is like a team effort taking care of this kid these days. We've got Devon giving him the place to live, and also being an example of someone who went from foster care to becoming a billionaire. Granted, he inherited the money, but Devon is still a real rags to riches story, and I do like that. I like that Y&R is reminding us of that. And then we have Amanda, who is also someone who's been through the foster care system and who's able to empathize with what it's like growing up kind of without a family. She did have a little talk with Nate saying that she is not interested in pursuing her biological parents, but you know that's going to come up down the road. We have a connection point with Jared, though. I mean, Jared's giving, this quadrant a reason to be together. I mean, Elena's now going to be giving Jared a job at the clinic. Of course, Nate is going to be overseeing that, too. So we're seeing a lot of Devon and Amanda and Elena and Nate these days. And, ooh, that look on Elena's face when Devon and Amanda were shaking hands and agreeing to be friends and not enemies. I don't know, Elena looked a little nervous, and I liked it. The part that I appreciated most about Mariah and Tessa's tearful reunion was this shared sentiment between them that, hey, this relationship may be messy, but it's our relationship. It's our mess. We both have contributed to it, good and bad, and that seemed very realistic to me somehow in this soap world where there is no realism whatsoever. I mean, how many times have Nick and Sharon cheated on each other? Yet they're one of my all-time favorite couples. How many times have Kane and Lily cheated on each other? And I'm still rooting for them even though Kane's not on the show anymore. I'm creating reasons to bring Kane back to reunite them. Even my favorite couple, Michael and Lauren, their relationship survived an infidelity. So, hey, if I can get past all of those messes, then why shouldn't I just get past Mariah and Tessa's messes? If they accept it, then I accept it. And I couldn't be more happy to have been wrong in my prediction that this was all going to spell disaster and the end of both Mariah and Tessa. And the other things, I'm looking at this from also a different perspective than probably most fans, because as your Y&R Chat host, I feel that the relationship between Mariah and Tessa flies in the face of a lot of viewers. It ticks a lot of people off, and I like that. Like, I'm over here moderating a website and dealing, with the Y&R Chat of it all. And I've noticed over, the past couple years that these two have been together, every time they're on screen, and especially if they have a sex scene, I just get this barrage of angry comments from people, just hateful comments too, just not liking this couple because they're lesbians. And there's just this part of me that's gotten so used to those waves of anger and hatred that come from the Y&R fan community toward this couple, that it's almost like, the more unhappy people get with them, the more it makes me want to root for them even more. On Tuesday, when their reunion episode was airing, I had the TV playing in the background, but I wasn't focused on it. I was doing something else. And I walked into earshot of the TV, and I could just hear on the air the sound of girls sobbing. And I just thought to myself, well, I guess Mariah and Tessa are back together. Oh. It's good entertainment. But Mariah's concert ambush was such a miss for me, but I do have to appreciate that at least she tried again, even after the concert thing didn't work, and she ultimately was able to convince Tessa that their love was strong enough to overcome this, and I do believe that Mariah would not make this same mistake twice. Oh, but the real key here to Mariah and Tessa's relationship success is the fact that they realized that something had to change. They couldn't, okay, fine, they choose to forgive, they choose to move forward, but you also can't just go back to the way things were and expect for the long distance relationship to work this time. So with Tanner's permission and with Sharon's blessing, Mariah will now be jetting off on tour with Tessa this time around. Perfect. I love it. I wish that they would have done that in the first place. It was such a cool, spontaneous boho moment. Don't even have any clothes. Guess I'll have to go out and get a new groupie wardrobe. Okay. I'm for it. I'm for the new wardrobe. I'm for Mariah's new wardrobe. Most of all, really, that's what this is about. Mariah and Tessa's reunion gets Mariah a new wardrobe, and that is a thumbs up from me. I think Tanner is the only one who doesn't need a wardrobe, since he's perfectly fine to walk around shirtless everywhere. You know what? I have to say, I was also really impressed that Y&R brought that little morsel back into the foreground. At the very end of this story, we learned that the thing that had become so much ado about nothing was nothing. Tanner's just always shirtless. That's just how he is. He's just this weird, annoying musician boy who's living his own life, doing things his own way, just the same way that Mariah and Tessa are. And it was interpreted to be this big deal when it's actually not a big deal. So, in retrospect, I think it's a pretty good story arc here. I only wish that I could go back in time and worry less about whether or not this meant that Y&R was getting rid of Tessa and or Mariah and or the relationship. I wish that I could just go back in time and have appreciated more the fact that Y&R was simply creating a challenge for this couple to overcome. Would I have forgiven Mariah? No. But I also would not have forgiven Nick, Kane, Billy, Kyle, or any other cheater. You only get one shot with me. But I'm not a soap character. And at least Y&R gave Mariah and Tessa some screen time. We would have been complaining about them not getting any screen time otherwise. So the turn of this story does just kind of confirm for me that Y&R is committed to sticking with this couple. Like it or lump it, Mariah and Tessa are here to stay. I officially forgive Kyle for starting coronavirus. What choice do I have? At a certain point, you either got to get in the train or get run over by the train. And so this week I just decided to jump on board the train with Summer and Kyle. And you know what did it for me? It was when Kyle handed Summer the mock-up of her Jabot co-CEO nameplate. I don't know why, but I thought that was really cool and really progressive. And I could really see that as a viable direction for Kyle and Summer. A true Genoa City power couple, born and bred on the show, rising up to lead the next generation of our major companies. We've never really seen that. Usually it's the guy being the CEO and the girl is always going, now don't be too harsh, don't work too hard. But, you know, here's an opportunity where we could actually see a couple as a team running this big company as co-CEOs, as actual partners together. Kind of gives me this Bill and Lee Philip Bell vibe. Co-creators, co-CEOs, co-teammates. I like it. And then Kyle topped off his very thoughtful co-CEO nameplate gesture with rose petal sex later in the hotel room. I love rose petal sex! When was the last time that you had rose petal sex? That's our question of the week at Y&R Chat. No, I'm just kidding. But was it 3 days ago? 4 days ago? How long has it been since you had someone pick off rose petals and drop them delicately on your back and then have sex with you? Oh, it was yesterday for me. Oh, I like it. I do. I'm just getting on board. I liked hearing Summer and Kyle talking about their future together. You know, the one that they'll have when he's not still married. Wait a minute. Y&R was so hot to trot to break up Kyle and Lola. So why are they dragging out the divorce? Do you mean to tell me that Kyle and Lola have not even had one single conversation about their divorce yet? They have not started the paperwork yet? Both of them are with other people. Kyle and Summer are already practically planning their re-wedding. And I don't know, I'm starting to think that maybe Theo and Lola were a better match all along. I loved hearing them bond this week over their family traditions. Theo was in the kitchen making pierogies, which apparently is the Polish version of empanadas. I've had both, but I never thought about it. And to be fair, I've had frozen pierogies. But damn, those Mrs. T's pierogies are good. You ever pick up some of those in your grocer's aisle? The cheddar mashed potato filled ones are pretty good. I could have gone for some authentic ones, though. Maybe that's something I gotta add to my list. But you know what I mean? It's like potatoes, pierogies, empanadas. There you go. Lola and Theo are the same. They just have different delicious fillings on the inside. All right. It's been a couple weeks. I'm forcing myself to just get adjusted to the new couples. But I do wonder if Lola is going to mind that Theo is obviously planning a Jabot takeover. Theo has been receiving some form of information being filtered to him from Kyle's assistant. And when Theo was receiving some information from Kyle's assistant, he told her that he was going to take care of her when he is in charge. Oh, okay. So, that could be good. Because even though I turned a corner on Kyle this week, I do still love to hate him. Don't misunderstand me. I sure do still love to hate Kyle. He is dopey enough that I don't have to worry about his feelings. And I admit that I am intrigued to find out what manner of absolute humiliation Theo is planning for him. I wonder if we're going to start to see a dark turn for Sharon's story. Because we've been talking the last couple of weeks about how Sharon's not really showing very many physical signs of her treatment. But I also bet that with cancer and with cancer treatment, there's just a lot of waiting around for something to happen. And maybe that's what we've been doing. We're all just kind of waiting around for something to happen, good or bad. But Sharon seems to almost be sensing something bad. She almost seems to have kind of a fear in her bones that she's not going to even be well enough to go on a school trip that Faith is really excited about this summer. I'm sure that in addition to all of her fears for herself, Sharon also has this deep and intense fear of what would happen to Faith if things do take a turn for the worst. Faith is the youngest of her children, and she is at a point where she could be at a fork in the road. And I know that Sharon worries about that. She did talk to Faith this week about her skipping school, and of course Sharon did a great job of empathizing and relating. She has turned into one of the wisest owls on the show. And she also was very reassuring for Faith, letting Faith know that she can overcome whatever happens next. But then it's also nice to see Ray stepping in and saying that for Sharon, telling her that she can overcome whatever happens next. And I am just wondering, I keep feeling like we're getting ready to see the turn in Sharon's cancer story. And I just have a feeling that she's really, really going to need extra support in the days, even the next week or two to come. Oh, where to start with Deena? The Abbotts brought Deena home to the mansion where they have converted the den into a living space that will be comfortable for her, but also conducive to her condition. Jack went to the grocery store, bought a lifetime supply of hibiscus tea, which, let's be honest, is probably only a couple of boxes at this point. Deena had, when she arrived, this moment of complete clarity sitting on the couch with all three of the children. She recognized Jack. Called him Jack, knew it was him. It was so surprising, so startling for everyone, and then as fast as it came on, it was just gone. And she was just sitting there completely despondent. And it is so hard to watch her sitting there despondent like that. I mean, and if it's hard for me, I can only imagine what it would be like to watch your loved one just sitting there out of it. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of tension between the siblings before Deena arrived at the house. I'm sure that caring for an aging loved one, even if Alzheimer's isn't involved, I'm sure it's a lot of stress on a family. But, the Abbotts are kind of lucky, if you ask me, to have Tracy, because Tracy jumped right in and diffused an argument that was brewing between Jack and Ashley. And I did laugh when Ashley declared that the solution to all of these problems would just be for her to be declared queen of the house. Mother would want it that way. Oh, boy. I tell you, I also laughed when Jack got out of the house, went to the society bar, was sitting alone, and bumped into Jill. And Jill saw that he was depressed and that he was kind of just not wanting to go home. And so she snatched someone else's half-finished crossword puzzle and started to engage Jack for answers as a wonderful form of distraction. It was such a lovely scene. And when it was all over, Jack revealed to Jill that he realized it wasn't even her crossword puzzle because it wasn't even her handwriting. And Jill said to him, "Wait a minute, you remember my handwriting?" And Jack said, "I remember a lot of things." And then he gave his trademark smiling Jack Abbott smirk. And he buttoned up his jacket and walked away. And I think he did leave Jill blushing just a little bit, I do believe. This writing team is very good at writing sexy, suggestive dialogue. Are they going to give us a Jack and Jill romance? No. Jess Walton does not want to be on the show full time. So Y&R gave us a small, pleasurable little nod to Jack and Jill's history together right there. And they gave us a small distraction from the impending doom and gloom that's going on at the Abbott household. I don't know if it was more helpful or hurtful that Tracy had the idea of reading Deena's end-of-life wishes before the end of her life. But Deena filled out a questionnaire early in the process of her Alzheimer's, like before it had completely taken over. She was laying out her funeral plans. I mean, she even wrote out the model number of the urn she wanted. That is very Deena. But then the Abbotts got to the pages titled Things I Want My Loved Ones to Know. And it's inherently heartbreaking because we shouldn't really be typing out the things that we want our loved ones to know. We should be saying the things that we want our loved ones to know right to them. But I realize that not everyone is good at that. I thought it was interesting that Deena listed her greatest accomplishment and her greatest regret as the same thing. She spent her life and her ambition building a company that employed many people, that helped many people and their families put food on the table, and yet she neglected her own family in the process. She struggled to understand the line between being self-sufficient and being selfish. That was very self-aware of her. And while I think that Deena has acknowledged some of the sentiments that she had about Jack and Ashley to Jack and Ashley, I don't think she ever really reconciled her relationship with Tracy until now. That scene on Friday was special because it was about Tracy. It was about the forgotten one, the child that Deena didn't even have glimmers of remembering as the Alzheimer's wore on. And I think that was the most heartbreaking for Tracy of all. Jack was the favorite. Deena recognized him even this week. Ashley was the most like Deena, so I think Deena was able to easily identify and recognize herself in Ashley. But Tracy was just forgotten. And even though I know that it's a rewrite, and even though I know that it's a blank being filled in at the very end, I like the idea that Tracy appeared to have been forgotten by Deena, not because she wasn't important, but because that was the relationship that was most painful. That what happened to Tracy was Deena's most painful reminder of the way that she neglected her family. Tracy was the baby. Tracy was abandoned by her mommy at an age where she was totally unable to understand why. And as the years went on, Deena just pushed that further and further into the back of her mind to the point where she didn't even get on a plane to attend Colleen's funeral. I'm like, I want to cry, and I'm feeling like chills right now just thinking about it because I never made that connection before. Oh my gosh, how painful that must have been for Tracy. I mean, to feel that pain and that loss that you're going through is insignificant and unacknowledged by your own mother. To be a mother and to lose your child and to think that your mother doesn't even acknowledge that or care, it's just incredible. And that scene was so incredible because it wasn't even about Deena. That scene was about Tracy. That scene was about exploring something in Tracy's life, in Tracy's pain that I didn't know before. And it just ripped me to shreds. About a month ago, I splurged and I decided to buy myself what I consider a fairly pricey eye cream. It's 20 bucks for this little half ounce of eye cream that I'm supposed to, a little jar that I'm just supposed to take a little dab and put it up under my eyes, and then I'm supposed to magically wake up and look as good as Laura Lee Bell does. Found diffused. I just put it right here and I'm young and beautiful. Just like Christine. Forever young. So, I've been using it very, very sparingly. And I only put it on at night so it doesn't accidentally get, kind of washed away in my daily processes. So I just use the tiniest little amount right up under my eyes, right before I get into bed, right before I turn on my Y&Rs. And well, that final scene with Tracy breaking down into tears, reading that letter, let me tell you, I cried all of that expensive eye cream right down my face, washing it away completely. It was gone. It was so sad, and I was so mad all at the same time. You owe me a new eye cream, Y&R. Don't worry, it's okay. I can handle it. I can handle 2 things at once, and on a good day, I can even handle 3. That was our quote from last week. I can handle 2 things at once, and on a good day, I can even handle 3. Well, guess what? Nick said it. Proving me wrong that he is just an empty nutshell. He says, Allie, there's meat in this nut. There's nut in this shell. I can handle 2 things at once, and on a good day, I can even handle 3. Well, all right, Nick. I believe you. He said that last week to Victor regarding his ability to balance his Newman Enterprises work with his New Hope work. And Lynn, Jamie, Julie, Joanne, Anna, Jamie D, Henry, D, Keisha, Steph, Victoria, Sherrod, and Amberine. You guys all got it right. How about a new quote for y'all out there? Who said this? People are the same everywhere, capable of good and evil. People are the same everywhere, capable of good and evil. Who said it? If you think you know, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, then I will give you your shout out on next week's Y&R Chat. Oh boy, we are having some major storms here in my area. So if you can hear the rain and the storms, or if you hear some background noise, it's the rain and the storm and the thunder and all that. I can't control the weather, although I would love to. I hate it when the weather gets in the way of my Y&R chatting. Well, I'm spreading lots of love this week. I've got a ton of comments to read. Let's start out with Victoria, who says, the scene with Ashley and Tracy and Jack reading Dina's end-of-life wishes was very real and raw. Starting the scene off on a humorous note about Dina's attention to detail showed how in tune to each other they are concerning their thoughts on their mother. Then they shared her biggest regret. It was so deeply personal. The look on their faces said it all. They went through a gamut of emotions. And Tracy's breakdown when hearing the words she always wanted to hear from her mother. Actions, it was so emotional. From her mother's hearing the words she wanted to hear about her mother's actions was so emotional. Bravo. Was there anyone who didn't connect with that scene? I think it was so universally touching and poignant. And yes, there are some little moments that this writing team is just so good at. I never would have thought of that. Maybe that's something that fans have been saying all along about Deena not attending Colleen's funeral, and maybe it just came out of left field for me, but for some reason that really colored in the lines for me. And yeah, I think this is all part of Y&R trying to reconcile those uglinesses of Deena's actions here at the end by showing that when she did have presence of mind, she at least felt regret about it. Well, let's have something a little more uplifting. Gary says, I think the chemo was making Sharon's hair more luxurious. What a babe. Yeah, Sharon looked better than ever when she was down at the ranch talking to Victor. I swear, I think that they must have given her hair extensions or something, because her hair did look longer and fuller, and I noticed it too. Although I did also notice that in that scene at the ranch, Sharon was wearing a little floral camisole top that I've seen her wearing before, and I have to say I am personally offended by that. I never want to see clothes recycled in any way. I liked the top the first time I saw it, and that's probably why I noted it, but I cannot see it twice. No, no, no. I need fresh, new, spanking, crisp, and clean, fresh off the rack clothes for every single day. I cannot allow myself to believe that these people would wear the same clothes twice. It's just not consistent with my fantasy. And also, she was wearing that over the floral camisole. She was wearing the powder blue leather jacket, which I also liked, but what is it with Sharon Case and leather? If she's not wearing leather pants on a day, it's got to be a leather jacket. She always wears leather pants. And topping it off with the cute little leather jacket, I'm for it. It's just, she just must love leather. It must be her thing. Hey, by the way, I liked the moment of surprise tenderness kind of between Sharon and Victor. Victor and Sharon's relationship used to be so special. They really used to look out for each other and just have a really nice connection. It was kind of before Chelsea came along. I think Sharon was the preferred daughter-in-law, and then Chelsea came along, and she got some of Victor's love and affection there for a while, and then everybody just kind of started distancing themselves from Victor. But also, I guess if I'm honest with myself, Sharon and Victor's friendship got a whole less special when they decided to take it to the level of their horrendous marriage. That was just a short little brief little icky point of Y&R history where Sharon married Victor and it ruined everything. Well, Laura says, I keep forgetting that Faith and Summer are half-sisters. I'd love to see Summer reach out to Faith to support her during Sharon's cancer scare. Something quiet like a sleepover or a walk in Chancellor Park. The small moments of togetherness during difficult times are lovely to see. Yeah, I totally forgot that too, Laura. Oh my gosh, I don't even think I have even conceived of the fact that Summer is half-sisters with Faith. Mariah is always the sister that's right there. But, you know, that would be a really great bonding point for Summer and Faith. And even toss Mariah in there. Why not? That's something. I mean, remember when Mariah was biting Summer's head off last week at the coffee house? And yeah, they have a rivalry, but they're also kind of family. I mean, they're all kind of family, but yeah, they share a sister. Yeah, because remember when Faith first came back into town and they were both sitting there talking to her about the boys she might be interested in? Yeah, that was a good scene. And then Y&R kind of forgot that Summer was related to Faith in these troubled times, that maybe Faith could use her other half-sister. I guess Summer is just too busy right now. She's too busy with Kyle. T. Nicole says, do you think we will see 18-year-old Jared again? My thought was that if we were starting to dabble into a rebellious Faith, do you think she will find herself attracted to Jared? But it would be wrong. But would it be wrong? I'm not sure what their age difference would be. I don't know who else on the show is currently around Jared's age. Summer, Kyle, Lola, Theo, they seem a little bit older. Yeah, see, I wonder if Jared, that's a good point. Maybe he is under 18, and maybe he and Faith will develop a little bit of a thing. I was starting to get the idea that maybe Y&R was going to send Faith back to boarding school because she was so missing her life in Switzerland. And I was thinking that maybe out of the conversation Faith would have with Sharon, that the decision would be to send Faith back to where she was flourishing. But it still sounds like she's staying in Genoa City, and if that's the case, certainly we could see rebellious Faith getting involved with Jared, because there really isn't anyone else that I can think of who is in his age range. I'm not sure that they're fully committed to the Jared character. I almost see him more as someone who's there to unite that quadrant, but it's possible they could develop around him. I mean, once again, there just isn't anybody else he could really hang with that's his age. Well, let's talk about Summer and Kyle here. Ambrini says, am I the only one who is still not on board with Skyle? Their love scenes make me want to gag. I just hate how Kyle cheated on Lola, and it's tainting my view of their new relationships. I know, Ambrini. I felt, I was there a couple weeks ago. I guess I just sort of made a conscious effort to, I can't hold on to it. I got a Y&R Chat to do. But Ellen says, you're not alone, Ambrini. I find Kyle to be a big turnoff right now. One minute he's in love with his wife Lola. The next he's saying he never really cared for her and it was always about Summer. What? And now he's a CEO who acts like a dopey teenager at the office. The character has become such a sap. It's too bad since the actor is very good. But this storyline has gone way off the rails. And now he's saying that Summer should be co-CEO of Jabot one day. Huh? Based on what? Being back together for a week? And her work on a few marketing campaigns? Sure, Kyle. Very wise. Oh, I guess I feel obligated to try to find the good in everything as the Y&R Chat host, but I do also really secretly enjoy you guys digging in on Kyle. So please keep that view coming. He is fun to hate. I feel bad saying it, but he is. I guess I don't have high expectations for Kyle. I just accept that he's an idiot. He's a flake. And so I guess maybe that helps me move on. But I mean, you're Ambrini and Ellen, you're 100% right. There's no doubt about it. Hey, let's talk about Mariah and Tessa, because last week I was saying, hey, why didn't Mariah even bring up the fact that Tessa had lied to her and that Mariah was able to give some forgiveness? You know, why didn't Mariah mention any of her past troubles with Tessa and her behavior when she was, presenting her argument for the reunion? Pressed says, I personally think that part of the reason Mariah didn't bring up Tessa's past transgressions is because I think she believes they're not quite the same thing as what she did. For instance, stealing someone's thoughts from their journal and using them for your own gain is bad, but they weren't a couple then. While they were clearly attracted to each other, they were barely even friends at that point. Blackmail is terrible, although I'd argue not a huge deal in the grand scheme of bad things that people do in Genoa City. But Tessa didn't blackmail Mariah. She blackmailed Sharon. It was sketchy and hurtful to someone Mariah cares about, but she didn't do it to Mariah. It wasn't a direct attack on their relationship, and they had only been together a few months at that point. Mariah and Tessa are super committed now, have been together for a substantial amount of time, have had multiple talks about being honest with each other, and it's been a good while in soap time since Tessa has messed up. They're a long-term couple now, which they weren't when Tessa was doing questionable things. So the fact that Mariah not only cheated on Tessa, but did it in their home and on their sofa bed, to me is way worse because they're in a serious relationship now, unlike when Tessa stole the journal. And this was a direct betrayal, unlike when Tessa blackmailed Sharon. So while I think that Mariah has a little leeway to say, yeah, you messed up too, they were in a completely different place, commitment and connection-wise, back then, and I think Mariah knows it. Oh, that's a very fair point. Yeah, you know what? It's so funny because when they were making up, and Mariah was saying, you know, one of the things I like about us is that we can live in that apartment, even though we can afford something better, and we can sleep on a sofa bed even though we don't have to. I was thinking, ooh, Mariah, you might not want to bring up the sofa bed. Considering what you and Lindsay did on it. But Tessa didn't bring that up. No, you're right. I think that the things that, I mean, they're two totally different situations. You can't really compare like blackmail or the theft to the cheating. I do agree about that, but there was lies. Lies are something that that Tessa did, and Mariah did, you know, try to lie about having slept with Lindsay. But I think you're right that the crux of the betrayal here was the fact that it was an intimacy betrayal. It was something that they had committed to one another, and then Mariah did this to Tessa, not sort of in Tessa's orbit. It's a good point. Shakona says, I am finally seeing the real Tessa. Yes, she's made mistakes. However, she's doing her best to become a better person. It seems like she's been hurt several times in the past, and just when she lets her guard down, her heart is shattered for that umpteenth time by the one person that she wasn't expecting it from. That scene where she says, oh, so you think it's just about the cheating? Made me understand her hurt on a deeper level instead of being dismissive of her feelings because she's no angel herself. Yeah, I know. It's like Tessa's a whole person with this whole backstory of things that we don't even really know about. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of experiences that have led to Tessa being the person that she is that we haven't even been told of. So yeah, I mean, it's the fact that it's not just the cheating. We don't know how many times Tessa's been cheated on. I mean, it sounds like she had a really bad home life situation. I mean, there are a lot of factors that go into Tessa's perspective. We just haven't really been presented them as much as we've been presented Mariah's perspective. Tiffany says, you know, I'll admit I was one of the many who said that Tessa's going on tour would be the beginning of the end for Tessa and Mariah. Little did we know what all the fallout would be from it. But I've never been so glad to be wrong, at least for now, because let me say, I was on the verge of happy tears when they worked out. I didn't expect it at all. I really didn't. I thought this was the end. I thought this was Y&R's way of writing out Tessa's character. I thought that maybe they were even going to write out Mariah's character for all I knew, or they were just going to kind of sideline her. But I'm pleased that we're still seeing two characters that we know and who we know love each other. Sherrod says, finally, Tessa gets to present her side. And I believe that the soap opera gods have smiled on the girls with their presumed reunion taking place 3 years to the day that the character of Tessa was introduced and she met Mariah, March 24th, 2017. Oh, is that right? So 3 years ago, Tessa was introduced on the show in 2017. And gosh, I feel like we've been predicting that she was going to leave the show for as long as she's been on the show. What more does Y&R have to do to tell me that they're actually going to keep the character? Maybe developing a little more of her emotion. I'm sure Sherrod would agree with that. Sherrod early in the week was saying that she was hoping that Tessa would be forgiving of Mariah, but it would not mean that they were getting back together. It's just way too soon. And then Sherrod says, at this point, I feel that the writers should end the relationship because the writers don't know how to handle it. Well, I mean, I don't think anybody could argue against that, really, because the writers have not done a great job with this couple. Absolutely not. They're showing now that they're committed to sticking with it, but yes, there's a lot that has certainly been lacking between these two from the very beginning, I would say. Let's hope they don't continue that trend. Gary says, I can only hope that Mariah doesn't come up pregnant with Lindsay's child. Maybe that is the direction that the writers are taking it, Gary. Oh my goodness. And then Mariah will try to pass the baby off as someone else's. How soapy. Oh, switching gears here, Ellen says, is Nick unaware that his own sister is building a competing hotel across the street from Phyllis's hotel? That should have been a quick no from Nick, not a I will consider giving you an exclusive contract for all of Newman's Genoa City hotel needs. Well, yes, Ellen, but Abby is not capable of blowing Nick's mind. Keep in mind that Nick's lock is not hard to pick. And it's a lock that Abby just can't. It just wouldn't be right. But I didn't even think about that. The fact that Nick was getting lured into an exclusive contract for the Grand Phoenix, and also that would mean a betrayal to his half-sister. Wow, I didn't even think about that. Hey, where is Abby? And where is Chance? And will they be back with some information about Colin? Will they be back with some information about anybody else when they come? I think Billy did mention to Nick this week about how Victor presented that hotel room receipt to Victoria, knowing that it was a lie. So that came back up. Any chance they're gonna resolve that? Any chance they're gonna resolve that when Chance gets back into town and tells us that it was Kane all along, and now he owns Chancellor Industries? Just saying. I'm just saying. T. Nicole says, I just need to shout out how beautiful Lily looked in that dress. Yes, or how beautiful Lily looks. I'm sorry, I added the dress part because I wrote myself a note that I wanted to mention the gray wrap dress that she was wearing. Wrap dresses are so basic, but yet Lily wore that dress like a model, like the model that she is. It was boring, but so beautiful. It was just the most basic dress, and for some reason, it was so striking on her. Yes, Lily is beautiful. I do like her whole vibe on the show. I'm definitely into Lily right now. Hey, also, Superplex says, I cannot even possibly envision Gina Tognoni playing that high school girl discussing her latest infatuation with her schoolmate act the way that Michelle Stafford did with Amanda. Oh, I saw your comment, Superplex, and I really absorbed it because I thought to myself, that is so right. I mean, the whole like giggling and sending text messages thing at the bar would so not have been up Gina Tognoni's, Phyllis's alley. I mean, it's like Gina was just so much more serious and so much more maybe subtle in her fierceness, but serious, I think, is a good word. And Michelle is so much more comedy. But yeah, that's a funny comparison, because after you said it, I tried to imagine Gina in that scene with Amanda, having the martinis and giggling over the text messaging, and yeah, it just does not compute. Let's talk about Adam. Kamna says, I don't know where this whole Victor murder mystery storyline is headed, but I absolutely love #Chatham and love Alyssa. And Mark Grossman. The whole Dark Prince thing suits him so well. He plays manipulative to a T. Also, Kamna says, my theory is that Hope killed Alyssa's father and Victor buried the whole thing. Ooh, Kamna. Wow. I like it. I think you're onto something. See, there's too much of just on the, in the foreground, everybody going, okay, well, I guess this is what happened. I guess that guy killed Cliff, and then Victor killed that guy. Done and done. Boom, 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 boom. No, there has to be a twist here, right? Laura says, Victor makes people suffer by taking away what they love. He doesn't kill them. So Laura, you think that Victor didn't even kill the guy? Ooh, so yeah. I'm looking forward to getting into the alternate versions of what's gone on here in Kansas. Daisy has a good one. Daisy says, I think it's likely that young Adam thought that AJ killed Cliff then confronted him, and once AJ denied any wrongdoing, they got into an argument, and Adam pushed AJ to his death. I mean, if a criminal is owed money and the money is late, they likely will rough the person up who owes it to them, but not kill them. Their goal is to get the money. If the person's dead, no money. But an angry boy with mental health issues would only think of blame and revenge. That seems like Adam to me. And Adam has a history of hurting people like Ashley. So it's not a stretch for me to believe that Adam killed AJ and then Hope called Victor for help and then Victor covered up what Adam had done. Ooh, yes. Oh, see, this is why I love Y&R Chat. I love these alternate theories. We have a theory that Adam was the one who did it. We have a theory that Hope was the one who did it. And I think one of those has gotta be right. That's very exciting. Ooh, the look on Adam's face. Because he does have this hesitation in him right now. He seems to almost know that it's not a good idea to go through with this. And he said something to the effect of, will this be my undoing? So it is a little bit of a premonition, isn't it? Well, hey, how about this from Tony? Tony says, Hope. Everyone thinks Hope was wonderful. Okay, she was. But think. She had an affair with Victor, married many times, maybe not just then. Nikki was with Jack, I think. She was with Victor, going to have a baby, then came to Genoa City and got married. She had Adam. She kept him from knowing Victor, which was not her sole choice to make. She wasn't humble. She had an I am blind and soft-spoken, so I am special attitude. She was blind, but she dyed her hair blonde. Why? I don't blame Nikki for rolling her eyes when anyone goes on about how perfectly wonderful Hope was. You know, I do like this comment because it is true that after Hope died, she definitely took on this perfect angelic status. And the truth is, Hope had a rough edge. I mean, she wasn't just the one-dimensional, beautiful, perfect angel that Adam and Victor remember her as. I remember that Hope, when Victor first met her, she was a virgin. She was this capable, smart, soft, wonderful woman that everyone's kind of talking about. And then Victor ruined her. That's what I remember. I remember the time at the farm was great. They had this wonderful love story. They got married. He brought her back to Genoa City, and it ruined her. He betrayed her, even suggesting that she should abort her baby because the baby might be blind. So you can love Hope for being blind, but you can't love your child with her for being blind too. Awful, awful, awful. I think that was a big a scarring thing for Hope. I just don't think she was ever the same after that. She goes back to Kansas. She accepts this life with Cliff. It's safe. It's not exciting. It's not Victor Newman and the flashy lights of Genoa City, but it's safe. So she kind of goes back to this life. And I feel like over time, Hope must have hardened because Hope went off the show for years. She was gone for years. Then they brought her back. She had the blonde hair. They dyed her hair blonde. She came back to Genoa City because Cliff had died. She needed some help raising Victor Jr. Hope and Adam came back to Genoa City. And yeah, she sparred with Nikki. And yeah, she was rude to Nikki. And yeah, Hope had an attitude. Like, Hope, when she came back 2.0, was not the same Hope 1.0. So I think it's a really valid point to go, okay, well, wait a minute. I don't remember Hope being so angelic. I kind of remember Hope being a little bit of a troublemaker. And she did have an attitude. You know, I mean, she was burned by that point, I think. So, yeah, I think I think it's fair to go, hey, Wait a minute. I don't remember the circumstances about why Hope left again, but I also don't think the character worked. I don't think anybody really wanted to see Nikki sparring with the blind woman. I think when they brought her back 2.0, I don't think the response was quite as strong. She wasn't the same. There just wasn't whole lot of places to go with it. So they brought her back the second time. It didn't work. They brought her back the third time. They killed her. Diana says, I'm curious to know how Adam's name became Adam if he was named Victor Jr. Is it a middle name? I stopped watching when Adam was first brought onto the show as an adult. Okay, well, this is a good question. See, I actually feel like I'm in a good position to fill in some of these blanks. These are the special to me stories. So this actually is sort of a nice little wheelhouse of knowledge for me. And a few other people chimed in on this as well. That Adam's full name is Victor Adam Newman Jr. He was always known as Victor Jr. That's always what they called the child actor who was on the show. The middle name, Adam, comes from Hope's maiden name. Hope's maiden name, she was Hope Adams, so they named him Victor Adam Newman Jr. The interesting thing about it, though, is that after everything got busted up and crazy with Victor and that marriage, Hope comes back to the farm. She marries Cliff Wilson. I believe at that point, Adam also took Cliff's name. He dropped the Newman from his name altogether. They needed to make Adam believe that Cliff was his real father. They didn't want to have this second last name. So at a point, he was Victor Adam Wilson. They kind of dropped the junior, dropped the Newman, and forgot about it. And it wasn't until Hope 3.0, where she came back to die, that's when she revealed to Adam who his real father was. Yeah. I mean, I do like that Y&R's digging back into this. I really have to say, even though the threads are loose, those are my threads. Again, I feel like Y&R must have said, "Oh, Allie's gonna love this storyline. It's based in Kansas." Maybe that's the reason why I'm trying to give some leaps and some credence to it, just because I feel like I should love this, so I better love this. It's all I've got right now. Y&R has temporarily stopped production on new shows during the concern over the COVID-19 outbreak, rightly so. So the question I asked you guys last week is, all right, if Y&R tapes a month in advance, do you want to see these episodes now? Do you want Y&R to air these episodes now at kind of the height of the COVID-19 crisis going on and all of the news and everything just exploding everywhere every day? Or do you think that Y&R should hold the remaining few episodes that we have left that are taped until the crisis calms down a little bit? 77% of you want those new episodes now. 23% said no, we need to press pause on Y&R for a little bit till the things have calmed down. Well, the majority wins. I got 5 full new episodes this week. I'm presuming that you guys did too, and even if you weren't able to watch them being aired, you might have been able to catch them at cbs.com. So yeah, we're getting the episodes. I voted no. To be honest with you, I voted no, that I want to pause. And it is purely for selfish reasons, only because it's I mean, I guess I probably would have maybe kind of liked a little bit of a break from Y&R Chat. Not that I don't love you guys, and not that I don't love doing Y&R Chat, but there definitely is a part of me that goes, I don't know how much attention I am giving this. I should be giving this. As the week started, like Monday, I was watching the new episodes and I'm like, I don't even know if I can continue to focus on this, because it just seems like there's something new that I need to worry about every day. I don't know that I can continue to focus on Y&R when I'm busy focusing on how I and everyone I know is going to die. So I said no to the poll. I need to focus on how I'm going to die. And writing my end of life wishes. But then as the week went on, I will admit, by Thursday, Friday, by the time that Phylllis was blowing Nick's mind, I was back in. I said, okay, all right, this is a good distraction and I need it. So I did. I have to admit, I voted no. I voted in the minority, but I did kind of jump on board with the majority as the time went on. And the majority of you, I think, make some compelling arguments. Marianne V says, I think that Y&R should continue the new episodes as long as they can then show repeats and special episodes. We need a distraction from the real world. Anna says, when I watch Y&R, I pretend that I am in a world, I'm in that world anyway. I've heard that's a psychological problem. But Anna says, I'd like to live in the world of Genoa City for an hour a day or 5 hours a week. I think it's a crucial distraction for me. Joanne says, why not fill the time with older episodes? Could be very interesting. We could see characters who are often mentioned, but who are not currently in the story. We could see stories play out that affect today's stories. Of course, that may be a problem considering how the current writing staff likes to change the history. I knew that our present situation was really serious when they suspended production. This is a very important escape for me, and I'll miss it. See, I do worry that we're going to get all the way to the end of this, though, and there's going to be no more new episodes, and we're not going to have anything, and then they're not going to air the repeats or anything special. That's another thing. I'm more of a saver. I almost kind of wish that we could save the episodes and know that I can get them later. I'm nervous that I feel like we're on borrowed time right now with Y&R. Ugh. Colleen says, I'm home during the day on a regular basis and I keep the radio on for company. Radio and TV are so stressful right now. Allie, I listened to your podcast from last week twice because I needed something positive to listen to. And I've so been looking forward to your podcast this week dropping. I think Y&R should air what new episodes they have and then air the reruns because we need them right now. I need the escape. Emergency situations must be at least a part of the reason why they keep a month's worth of shows in the can, right? Yeah, you're probably right. That is why they tape so far in advance, and also probably so that they can go and fix anything if needed. I mean, I don't think you could possibly keep on top of a show that's airing as regularly as Y&R does and not tape in advance. But, that's the other thing, Colleen, is I was thinking toward the end of the week, like, you know what, I am at least hoping that Y&R Chat is a bright spot for somebody, and what good is it really doing me to make sure I'm tuned in to every single local news, every time the news airs, every single time there's a press conference? What good is it doing me to be reinforced in how bad it is? I already know how bad it is. I mean, I think that you can't really underestimate the power of just having a little bit of escapism. I mean, that's kind of what we all do on a daily basis. And on top of everything else, losing your escapism would be really hard for a lot of people. So as the week wore on, I also thought, you know what, I want to make this a really good Y&R Chat this week because I know there are a lot of people who are waiting for it, and I know that's a part of a lot of people's routines. I mean, it's a job for me, to be honest with you. It does take a lot of work, and I was feeling really mentally and physically exhausted by everything. But, as soon as I turn on my camera and I start going, like, Y&R Chat is very rejuvenating for me, too. So as much as you guys look forward to it, I think I've come to need it in a lot of ways. Like, I always feel better after I've, got a good Y&R Chat going. And also, I always feel better when I see your comments and stuff at the website. I probably have not been doing as good of a job at participating at the website this week. I've got so much else going on. I'm busier than ever. I mean, so many people are kind of quarantined and not really knowing what to do, or just people, doing the whole self-isolation thing and are at home and they're not used to being at home that much. I'm used to being at home. I have a million million things that I'm constantly doing on a daily basis. And so I am busier than ever. So I know there was a part of me that was just like, oh, I need a minute. I get no vacations ever. But then as the week went on, I'm like, you know what? This is me doing something good. This is me doing something I can control. Instead of focusing on all the things I can't control, let me do something I can. Tony says, I voted to continue the broadcast of the episodes that have filmed. My fear is that this will go on so long that something will fill that airspace and Y&R will not return at all. So let's see what they have. Over 10 years ago, there was a writer's strike in the spring, and to fill the airspace, they began producing reality shows, and you can see how those have taken over the airtime, and the other shows never finished their season broadcast, and some didn't return at all. That's my fear for Y&R. I read that they just signed 2 more years, so maybe it will come back, but I vote show what's been filmed, something will fill that hour. News, I guess. Oh, yeah, I know. That's a really interesting point because I kind of do remember that writer's strike. Yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that that a lot of shows just like never came back. I don't think that's the case for Y&R though. I mean, I think the contract guarantees that Y&R will come back for the next 2 years. They've got contracts of the actors and things to pay to follow through with too. The other thing is, I take a little bit of the opposite view. I think Y&R is going to get more viewers out of this. Think of it. There's a lot of people at home right now just like turning on daytime. They haven't probably turned on like a TV that's airing in ages. Maybe they turn on Price is Right thinking they're going to see what's up on the wheel. What's spinning on the big wheel, and then they stick around for Y&R, and now all of a sudden they're hooked. What if we get a bunch of new viewers out of this? I like that idea. Laura was commenting at the website. I've never seen so many like negative ones, like downvotes to comments at yrchat.com. She asks, is that a glitch? Is someone trying to stir up trouble, or is one in our community going through a tough time? Yes, see, Laura, that's the thing. I think it's a tough time. I didn't notice that until you said it, but yeah, I could see that there's definitely somebody's going in there and saying, I don't like that comment, I don't like that comment, I don't like that comment. I'd much prefer it when you thumbs up the comments that you do like, but the thumbs down's there for a reason. It doesn't affect anything. It really doesn't. But I think it's representative that maybe people are going through a tough time right now. I think people are like trapped in their homes. Maybe they're just discovering daytime and they're deciding to, come and just flippantly seeing what fans of this show are saying. Yeah, Young and the Restless. My grandma used to watch that. It's stupid. It's stupid, but let me further seek it out. Maybe, because you kind of go through those processes of denial that you're watching a soap opera and that you like it. So maybe it's just somebody who's going through their process. But I think that a lot of people are unhappy right now. And I think that fan bases in general can be very toxic. But I think that's what makes Y&R Chat so special. Because, we're very nice people who love the show and want it to do well. What I'm wondering, though, is that if Y&R does happen to pick up some new fans, is there any chance that we are going to pick up some awesome, new, special, cool Y&R chatters out of all of this? Like special, cool people like you, Laura? Because I love your comments, and I noticed you were totally stepping it up and giving us a lot of insight this week. So don't think I did not see that. I do always appreciate your insightful comments, and it takes 1 second to be like, thumbs down or thumbs up, but it takes time to compose a good comment to be considered here for at the end of Y&R Chat, or just to contribute thoughtfully to the conversation. So that is most certainly not going unnoticed. Now back to the topic at hand. Ellen says, it's been reported that there are enough new Y&R episodes to air through mid-May. It would be good if CBS could confirm that that's true. Also, what's their plan for daytime programming as soon as they decide? They must be scrambling with no sports, no talk shows, no new programming, pilots on hold. But Y&R is top priority here. And P.S. Get well, Kevin Fisher. Yes, I haven't heard anything more from CBS about the status of Y&R, how many episodes there are, what their plans are with the schedule. I don't know what they're going to do. It would be wonderful, certainly, if they did do some reruns. But I also know that it's not easy to wing that together, especially not when you don't have access to the studio. I mean, it's, a lot of the old episodes need to be reformatted. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they have some on deck that they can air. It's just like a really weird, unexpected situation, and I don't know what they're going to do. But I think that, as you mentioned, the fact that Greg Ricart tested positive for coronavirus probably does not bode well. Justin says Greg Ricart has the coronavirus, so perhaps Y&R's doing the right thing, shutting down production temporarily. Yes, Greg Ricart has it. I believe he's recovering now, actually. Greg Ricart, who plays Kevin. And I think, yes, you're right. It is so good that they did shut down production, because even though I hate to say it and hate to think it, I mean, we do have some older cast members. I just shudder at the idea of Marla Adams or Eric Braeden or any of our older cast members getting this. I mean, it could affect anybody. I mean, not just the older, but that is the demographic that is suffering the most. So yes, I think it's absolutely a good thing that we stopped and we halted, and maybe there is a way that they could get into the studio and give us some repeats, some reruns, something to fill the programming. But at the same time, I have to think that, preserving the health and safety of the talent, and not just the on-screen talent, but all the behind-the-scenes talent, that has got to be top priority. Victoria says, yes, I would like to see the episodes that have been filmed air. I enjoy breaking up my day with an escape into my soap. I also think that it would be great if Y&R would have each actor tape an interview at home to supplement each week. This way Y&R could air 4 episodes, not 5. The interviews could consist of describe a scene that was fun to film, a scene that was emotional to film, what you like about the stories your character portrays, currently what you wish for new stories. Y&R could edit these interviews, add pertinent video clips, and it might be interesting to have the actor tell the viewers what they're doing at home. These episodes could end with a PSA about the coronavirus. Actually, interviews should be something that would be fairly easy, you would think, to film and to edit in. I just happen to know from Y&R Chat and everything, editing, it is not easy. It is so easy to say, let's whip up an episode, but it is so much work. So, and, if they're down staff, I mean, I'm sure they're considering who they can keep and can't keep at this point. I don't even want to get into all of that. But I would think that, yeah, some video interviews is a pretty good idea of something they could pop onto the screen. Although I think I'd be happy with some rerun episodes, some classic episodes too. Lisa115 says, I have a suggestion for future podcasts, Sally. How about themes? Like favorite character, favorite storyline, what we'd like to see in future soaps. You could read everyone's responses on your podcast. Just an idea to keep us chatting about our favorite soap, even if it's not airing. Yes, I like that idea, because then it's also you guys, generating the content too. Because like I said, it's like, it looks easy, sounds easy, but it's a lot of work. But I do like the idea of reading comments for a Y&R Chat episode for when we get to the point where we don't have much. I'll come up with something. I'll definitely come up with something. I don't know how much, but I like the ideas. Keep them coming. Ellen says, it's really a shame that you can't hear us all cracking up at the jokes that you make during Y&R Chat. You do keep it entertaining. If Y&R goes to reruns, I wonder if you could pull clips from old Y&R Chats from that time period and then tie in current plots and character growth. Easy peasy, right? Or maybe you'd like a well-deserved break. We would miss you, though. I know, yeah, pulling up old stuff it's a challenge because you gotta find your clips and then you gotta get them formatted. It is a lot of work, but I know that I can come up with something. I do still like I do still like the ideas of coming up with comments that would speak to you, or reading your comments, or yeah, I mean, I can definitely talk about, dig deeper into some stories and some ideas that I don't on a weekly basis. But what I like best about your comment, Ellen, is the idea that you guys are laughing at the jokes that I'm making, because I never know what's going to hit or what's going to miss. That's one thing I do wish I could know. What are the jokes that get the laughs? And last week, was it Victor eating Hope's peach pie? Was that the one? Because I saw your comment and I thought, ooh, I wonder which is the one that really got her. And I thought, I hope it was the peach pie, because I felt particularly proud of that one. It's funny to me that Adam made the leap of logic that if Hope was calling Victor to come out to Kansas after Cliff had died, then it must have been because even that Hope had to swallow her pride to call Victor to come out to help her in Kansas. And it didn't even occur to Adam that maybe Victor was coming out to Kansas for a booty call. Hope's a red-blooded, hot-blooded woman. Cliff was gone and out of the way. Maybe Victor rocked her in a way that she never been rocked. Maybe she said, all right, now could be the time. That didn't occur to you, did it, little Adam, peering through the curtains, wondering what was going on in Mommy's bedroom? That notion also just tickles me. Oh, self-isolation, no problem. Self-entertaining, it's what I do. Well, I hope that you guys are out there doing okay. Thanks to everybody who checked in at the website this week. I have been reading comments, and I do hope that you guys keep coming, keep checking in. It's a good place to let us know that you're okay, and for now, letting us know what you're thinking about the new episodes as long as we have them. All right, well, it's time for me to fly. I hope you guys all have a pretty good, try to have a good week. And I will see you again next Sunday, rain or shine. I love ya. Bye.